Hello everybody, my name is Sean and I'd like to welcome you to my channel where I'll be discussing various topics relating to the beautiful, magical thing that we call language. Now before I say anything else, I'd like us all to take a second to appreciate the fact that at this very moment I'm subconsciously forcing my tongue and lips to smash against each other as well as other various parts inside of my mouth that leads to an arbitrary string of sounds that you somehow manage to interpret as words, sentences, and phrases that convey meaning and transfer information. Know what I'm saying? Yeah you do, because language. Now that's crazy enough, but now imagine 6 to 7,000 different ways of doing that same thing, because that's more or less approximately the amount of languages that there are in the world today. More than half of these are predicted to go extinct by the year 2100. Languages are dying at an estimated rate of a language every 2 weeks. That's thousands of years of oral tradition, history, culture, gone, dead, forgotten. Every 2 weeks. And it seems to me that not enough people know that this is happening, nor really care, unfortunately. Language is one of the most instinctual things to us humans, and it provides such magnificent diversity that makes us all unique in some sort of way. It's culture, it's tradition, it's us, it's human. And the fact that they're all disappearing so fast is, I think, pretty damn sad, and I want to promote and put in the spotlight some of these neglected beautiful tongues from around the world, which is why I've created this channel. Now, I have many ideas as to what I want this channel to be and the things I want to talk about. Now, the first and biggest idea that I've had is to make this project/experiment that's going to be a bit interactive because you are going to be helping me out with it. Now, I think I'm settled on the name SpeechLeech, and here are the ground rules. So for each of the 26 letters of the English alphabet, I'm going to be choosing 4 languages, then putting out a poll on my Instagram, where then you will pick and choose which one of these I'll be learning over the course of the next 2 weeks. Now, I want to be as diverse as possible, so I'll try my best to pick languages from different language families, and I want at least one language to be a big, well-known one, or at least one that you've actually heard of. And at least one that's exactly the opposite. I'm talking a language that neither you nor I will have ever heard of before. And the other 2 being something in between. I'll then be making a video of me describing the language, plus a demonstration of me speaking it, as well as a mini evaluation of the things that I've learned. And then in the same video, I'll also be giving small descriptions of the next 4 languages that'll be up for choice. Now, during my research process, I will inevitably come across many a language that definitely deserve a shout out, and I would have loved to include them as one of the choices, but couldn't due to 2 main reasons. Firstly, there simply aren't enough or sometimes any resources for learning a language online. Oftentimes I'll come across a vocabulary list or a Bible translation or something along those lines, but unfortunately that's not enough really for me to go off of to learn to speak about my daily life and day-to-day things, which is a shame. And secondly, is if a language is written using a script that I do not already know. Now, learning a language is hard enough as it is, so for me to be able to learn a language, or at least attempt to learn it in such a short amount of time, I'd prefer to be able to read it right off the bat. Now, the scripts that I already know well enough to be able to do this are Latin, Cyrillic, Hebrew, and Arabic. Which means that at least for the time being, languages such as Hindi, Chinese, or Japanese, for example, are off the table. There's actually one exception to this rule, and I'll probably reveal it in a later video because it's a language I've been wanting to learn for a while now, and we'll see how it goes. However, just because I won't be learning a language doesn't mean that I'm not going to be talking about it. So every other week, while I'm learning the language of your choice, I'm going to be making a video about the honorable mentions, as I like to call them, because some of these are just so damn cool that you just can't not talk about them. And some of these I might end up making full videos on later as well. So to recap, I'm going to be putting out a video every week of 2 segments alternating each week. The demonstration of the previous 2 weeks' language, plus choices and descriptions of the next 4, and a video on the honorable mentions. I just realized that I'm going to be learning a language every 2 weeks, and a language also dies out every 2 weeks. Can I keep up and save them all? I guess you're just gonna have to keep watching and find out. Now, I'll write down the full rules in the description below in case you want to look at them again, but in the meantime, follow me on Instagram so that you can also vote on I'm Sean. Get off my lawn. So, yeah. Now you might be thinking, but Sean, won't you be significantly limiting your options if you don't include the hundreds, perhaps thousands of languages that aren't written in those scripts? How wrong you are. Seems like a perfect transition, so without further ado, the choices for the first edition of SpeechLeech are as follows. Albanian, also known as Shtip. Now this is my pick for the one that you've actually heard of, so you're in for a treat. Albanian is a language native to Albania and the surrounding regions of southeastern Europe, spoken by about 7.5 million people worldwide, and is written using the Latin script. It has official status in Albania, North Macedonia, Montenegro, and Kosovo, as well as minority status in Italy, Serbia, Croatia, and Romania. It's part of the Indo-European language family, but it has its own Albanian branch, which means it doesn't have any direct relatives to anything and is really weird sounding and looking compared to the others. It's distantly, very distantly related to the other Indo-European languages, and if you don't know what Indo-European languages are, it's the concept that most of the languages native to Europe, not all, but most, as well as some of the languages of the Caucasus region, Iran, Afghanistan, the Indian subcontinent, are all related to each other and were once theorized to be the same language thousands of years ago. Yeah, so technically English, Russian, Italian, French, Spanish, Greek, Hindi, Persian, Nepali, Armenian, Albanian, Latvian, Welsh, Irish, Kurdish, Bengali, are all related to each other. It's by far the largest and most spread out language family in the world, with about 46% of all people, or 3.2 billion, having an Indo-European language as their native language. Now, an interesting fact about Albanian is that it has 6 moods. A mood is the use of verbal inflections that allow speakers to express attitude to what they're saying, like a statement of fact, command, desire, and one of them is reserved for admiration. So for example, wait, how do you pronounce this shit? I don't know how to pronounce it. So for example, ti fleç simply means you speak Albanian. Well, ti fliskësh means, oh my god, you speak Albanian? That's possibly what everybody's going to be saying to me in 2 weeks, eh? Next up, Aymara. The Aymara people probably have the coolest flag you'll see all day, and it's called the Wiphala, and it's actually used to represent other indigenous groups that live in the same general region. Aymara is native to the Andes region of South America, is part of the Aymaran language family, spoken by about 1.6 million people worldwide, and is written using the Latin script. It has official status in Bolivia and Peru, as well as recognized as a minority language in Chile, but most of the speakers live in Bolivia. Aymara is actually only one of a few indigenous American languages, both North and South, that have over 1 million speakers. Now what's really crazy about Aymara is that it has a very unique and rare understanding of time. So you know how usually we would say looking forward to the future and back at the past, where here it's completely the opposite. Aymara speakers represent as the past being in front of them and the future being behind them. The logic behind it, as I understand it, is sort of like the past has already happened, so it's in front of you because you can already see it, and the future is yet to happen, so it's behind you, it's unknown. Yeah, so looking forward to the past and back to the future. Crazy stuff. Adyghe, also known as Adyghe. It's spoken in with official status in the Republic of Adyghe in southwestern Russia. It belongs to the Circassian branch of the North Caucasian language family and is written using the Cyrillic script. Estimates the number of speakers I've seen vary quite a bit, some putting them at 300,000 and some more than 500,000. Adyghe, along with the other Circassian languages, are famous for having one of the most extensive consonant libraries in the world. I'm talking like 50 to 60 consonants and some having even more. English, for example, only has 24 consonantal sounds. Note, consonant letters and consonant sounds are not the same thing. You have, for example, the voiced velar nasal in English, which is the NG at the end of talking. It's a different consonant, but it doesn't have its own letter. Additionally, the Shapsug dialect of Adyghe is the only known language in the world to have the voiceless bidental fricative consonantal sound. Now, I couldn't really find an example of what it sounds like online, but based on the description, I assume it sounds sort of like this. Next up, Abenaki, also known as Wopanakion Dwawogan. Abenaki was traditionally spoken in parts of the northeastern United States in places like Vermont, Maine, New Hampshire, as well as Quebec and Canada. It's part of the eastern Algonquin branch of the greater Adyghe family, in the past extending almost as far north as Newfoundland and as far west as California. Now, Abenaki is very, very endangered. It's what we might call in the linguistics world as a moribund language. Now, moribund means it's not dead yet, but it kind of might as well be, because there's virtually no chance of it recovering, and most speakers are really old and no children really speak it. There were originally 2 varieties of Abenaki, Eastern and Western. Eastern Abenaki became extinct in 1993, when the last native fluent speaker, Madeline Shea, had passed away. Rest in peace, Madeline. Gone but not forgotten. Western Abenaki, on the other hand, recorded just 14 speakers between the years of 2007 and 2012, which means that today there might be even less. Still, there are some enthusiasts trying to change that, with some ongoing efforts of revival, like teaching it at the local schools or giving adult classes. And I honestly wish them the very best. It'd be really cool to see a resurgence of it, I think. Now, a cool thing about Abenaki is, while it doesn't use gender, nouns are divided into 2 categories, noble and ignoble. There may be some occasional exceptions, but basically noble words mean living things, and ignoble words mean inanimate objects. So yeah, those are the choices, and that's it for this episode. So get on my Instagram to start voting, and I'll see you next time. I'm excited to see what you guys will pick. Peace out.